evening. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I hope you guys are doing good tonight. Hanging out, being cool, chilling, being calm, being great. Making me proud as always, of course. You know you do. You know you always do. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We have a little bit of a cult documentary lined up tonight, so I wanted to see how it vibed with us, how it meshed, how it grooved. You know, just what we think about it. We could take down some notes. We could see how they run their business, and then I can see what I can do. I can see what I can do. If they have some good ideas, I might take some notes. You guys should take some notes, and then we'll all just be taking notes. We'll all just be taking notes, and if nobody dies at the end, I'm going to be surprised. A little disappointed, honestly. I know you guys are too, because, you know. And if nobody gets laid in this cult, then I'm going to be deeply surprised, because what is the point of a cult? Unless it's a sex cult. I don't see one. I just don't. What's the point? You guys, somebody's getting laid. Somebody's getting laid and somebody's dying. Otherwise, it's not a cult. I don't see it as a cult. And so, hopefully you guys agree with me. I know you do because you're cultists. And it's against the rules to disagree with me. That's one of the rules. That's the main rule. That is like the rule of a cult. So, you know, don't do that, or you're going to get your Nikes and purple blanket early. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. But you're not going to catch the comment with the rest of us. Anyways, thank you so much for coming. It is a Monday? Is it Tuesday? It's Monday. It's Monday. It's not Friday yet? That's too bad. Too bad it's not Friday yet. Because I'm already done. I'm already done with this week. Right? All kinds of issues. All kinds of issues. Anyways, on this Monday night, we're doing the cult documentary. We're gonna see how it goes. Little cult stuff. That's it. That's it. That's the description I have for tonight. So if you are in, you are in. And if you are out, we're disappointed in you. So anyways, thank you so much for coming. Get comfy. Get cozy. Grab a nice glass of absinthe. Or a nice poison punch. Or, you know, chemical Kool-Aid. Or antifreeze wine. Or whatever is your beverage of choice. Get a nice bubble bath. Put some rose petals in that bitch. Make sure you're comfy. And cozy. Use a robe afterwards. You know? It's about luxury. That's what this show is about. Goddamn luxury. Anyways, if you are working, please continue to keep working. And if you are driving, drive safely. Wear your seatbelt. Don't be too drunk. Don't be too drunk. Anyways, again, it's Monday. I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is the Sulk stream. And this is called The Group. Enjoy.
The name of the documentary is called The Group.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just explain,
What do we have?
for somebody who doesn't know, what is
It's going to be a weird one, I'm sure. You know.
Okay.
The group is...
Hit the like on the way in. Yes, thank you, Couch Surfing.
The group is, it is a group. I mean,
Good to start. Good.
that's it.
All right. If somebody starts interviewing you, let's pretend that you get interviewed for this cult in the future and be like, I was there since the beginning. And then he used to, you know, talk to us about, just be a little bit more eloquent. Can you please? Can you please? You are not part of this cult. You're part of that cult, right? Not the beautiful people cult that I run. Because, I mean, I guess you could serve as drinks under a sheet. No one wants to look at you. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways.
I just want to give people an idea, you know, like what it is, because just such a hard thing. To
I agree.
explain.
I agree. I'm having a hard time right now.
I still have a hard time. I mean, but
it's really hard to describe to anybody
Hot
that
dog,
wasn't there.
despite
It
Esteban.
is a lot easier just to have been a part of
Couch
it.
drifting, Ardenshire, background noise, rushing, Matt.
A family desperate for help
How's it going,
for a
guys?
teenager using drugs.
Yeah, they turn to an organization
Who's
promising
saying what
love
already?
and caring, but instead they find a program.
Okay, so it's drugs. It's a drug thing. Okay, so I get this is like a group home, I imagine. You know, I did watch this. I watched a little bit, but I'm in and out of things. I have a very short attention span. I'm not sure you noticed, though.
Program based on
I don't think
hatred
you
and
have.
intolerance and fear.
Sweet, sounds like my kind of cult.
This man is the founder, and you may not believe what he has to say. So
Chief in a cigarette, pretty cool already.
disturbing that we had to censor it.
This is going to help you. Now stay here.
The blacks and the Jews and the gays and the...
Don't think about it.
Okay, I'm listening, old man. I'm listening.
Eat their own
It seems to fit the criteria of a destructive cult.
Hot dog says, let the hate flow. Yep.
They control behavior, information, thoughts, feelings. They try to create an identity that's dependent
Okay.
on the group.
Okay.
Isolate
These are all good points. These are all good points. I don't have a notepad. Ardenshire, can you take notes, please?
you from family and friends unless they are members of the group.
Tonight, the ABC 15 investigators uncover hours of disturbing videos so you can decide for yourself, and survivors who made it out and are telling their stories for the first time.
Okay. Look, if you all right, here's a thing, dude. I really hate when they use the term survivors for incidents where no one died. You know, if something happened where nobody died or was even in real danger of dying, and they're called survivors, I really don't like that. Like a childhood abuse survivor, he survived. He survived, but he wasn't like in any real mortal danger. Sure, that's bad, but there's no like. I went to the Sizzler. I'm a survivor of the Sizzler. You were never in danger at the Sizzler. Maybe of E. coli or something like that, but not really. It's an overused term, and I really, really dislike it when buzzwords like survivor are used. Like Holocaust. I'm just kidding.
Like those bumper stickers. You know, Christians aren't perfect. They're just forgiven. I'm going to blow those cars up.
Hot Dog says, last time I ate shrooms was at EDC, and it was a 6-hour circus ride. Jess and I went to EDC one time. It was a lot of fun. We didn't buy the tickets. Her brother gave us EDC tickets. So we were like, okay, because it's not really our scene. We're not like electronic, kind of people. We went. We had a good time. I enjoyed it.
I still feel like killing some more people.
You do that, Rushing Matt.
Seriously.
Rushing Matt says, this time of night I just have a few White Claws and smoke some weed. I have to say it like that for some reason. I don't know. Is it a Jay and Silent Bob reference? Some things are just programmed in my brain and I don't know where they're from. I don't want to ask. I don't want to have some weird Mandela effect happen to me. Be like, is that where it was from? No, just you remember it and that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Well, they're out to get you.
Music by A Shell in the Pit. Okay.
Yeah, you still deal with him, huh?
It's a weird name for a group. What is that? What is that creature though?
Those were really situations where I didn't fuck anybody that wasn't going to know.
Esteban says, I felt like I couldn't breathe, so I thought a cigarette would help. Bad decision. Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Sometimes. The group. And if this doesn't turn into an orgy, I'm going to be like, why would you name it that? Why would you name it that? I mean, it doesn't have to show sex stuff. I know this is YouTube, but YouTube is like very weird about their censorship. They censor ideas a lot more than they censor like violence or sexual content. Weird. Weird. Very weird, but not surprising in the least bit. Because the ideas are the dangerous part, according to them. Ideas. Do not smoke shrooms when you have pneumonia. Do not smoke cigs on shrooms when you have pneumonia. Why are you doing shrooms on pneumonia? When you have pneumonia and you're like, you know what would help this potentially fatal condition is mushrooms. A large, like 8 to 15 grams of mushrooms directly to the dome. Penis envy. Penis envy. So you know they're going to be super duper strong. And, you know, because if you might die, you might as well experience what it'll be like first. Right? Just a superhero trip. No, that's a foolish thing to do, Esteban.
Welcome back to our show. Our next guest is a young man, and he too is a young recovering substance abuser. If we could please welcome Jake McIndoller. Yeah!
So is this what this group is? Is this like narcotic, like an NA meeting where old drug addicts or former drug addicts, not old per se, but former drug addicts come and then they're like, okay, now that I'm off drugs, I need a new reason to live. And that's group sex. That's group sex and some weird ideology that I'm going to adhere to and cut my family out. Seems like drugs. Seems like the same thing, but whatever. Somebody back there wants it. Somebody back there wants it.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Bill. That's me. My name is Jake McIndoller, and when I was 16 years old, I was a drug addict. This video was recorded in 1993, when I was a patient in a drug abuse program for adolescents in Atlanta, Georgia. I had first entered
Esteban says group sex is gross unless you do it in the shower. Right.
drug treatment when I was only...
Yeah, you want to be clean when you're having sex with a bunch of strangers in a big pile, right? You want to... Let's make sure we put some... You know, our shower's not big enough, so let's make sure we wait for like a rainstorm before we'll just all go outside and hop in the mud like it's Woodstock. And then, hell, we'll do a bunch of mushrooms too. Does anybody have pneumonia?
Only 13 years old.
Spread that shit around.
But I got started early.
I started drinking.
You bet they have poppers?
Mm-hmm.
What are poppers? What specifically is a popper? Is it nitrous? What drug is that? What kind of high does that give you? What is that?
Just as like a weekend thing, we'd go over to my friend's house and his parents had a, liquor cabinet and a lot of alcohol.
They would not make it in the cult?
Take it, but the first time...
Probably not. Probably not. No. You guys would be like the seniors, and then we'd have a bunch of pledges, and then, I don't know, there would be some weird rushing, like a rush where you kind of haze them, and we'd haze the crap out of them on borderline torture, because there would be waterboarding involved with pee. It's a sex cult. What do you want? You want us to use water? That's gay.
Actually, before that I ever actually used drugs was I had smoked marijuana.
Hot Dog says the 93 20-somethings were all butt rockers. Butt rockers. This is a butt rocker? Probably.
9 years old.
Hairband worshippers?
Yeah.
So you were cool earlier than normal. Good for you.
It was a long road to recovery for me. I first entered the Crossroads program in St. Louis, Missouri when I was only 13 years old. A few months later, I was committed for 30 days to Physicians Regional Hospital in Dallas, Texas. There, I underwent...
It works like GHB. Poppers? I don't even know what GHB does. That's a date rape drug, right? So it makes you kind of like rapeable. Whatever that happens to me. Does it make you more willing? Like you're cool with it? Or is it just like make you real sleepy?
Daily group therapy sessions, biomedical feedback, hypnosis, and neuroelectric therapy. After my release, I entered into Crossroads' 9-week outpatient program. For some time after, I attended bi-weekly support group meetings.
Hog Dog says GHB was some weird cow hormone. I think you're talking about RBST, which is not a drug. RBST is something different that they use to get more milk out of cows, but not GHB. I think GHB would probably just get cows high again. I don't think that's accurate, Hog.
Participated in daily group activities and was even placed on Crossroads Steering Committee, a group of volunteers who help to conduct meetings and welcome new...
Never heard of RBST? It's a weird cow hormone that they give to cows to make them lactate more, so you get more milk out of it.
Newcomers. After a brief stint away from Crossroads...
That's what I thought you were talking about. GHB as a cow hormone? Look that up. Somebody look that up. I don't know. I'm not going to do it.
15, I was again committed for 30 days inside of a hospital. This time...
Rushing says GHB was a weightlifting drug sold at GNC. I don't think that's accurate either. No. GHB is a highly illegal, like, class 1 narcotic. It's not something you go get at the vitamin shop, because I would do that. I would get it at the vitamin shop and I'd be like, vitamins. And it would make me super rapeable.
At Orchard Springs Hospital.
I'm pretty rapeable now.
In Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
Shortly after, I was removed from my family's home and sent to live with the leader of an affiliated program, Atlanta Insight, in Atlanta, Georgia, and again to attend 9 weeks of outpatient treatment. This time I managed to hold it together for a while. I strung together 2.5 years sober, became a leader to other addicts, and even...
They totally sold GHB for weightlifting in the 80s? Really? Maybe I just am completely unclear on what GHB is. I don't know. Okie dokie. If we're going down this rabbit hole, how does GHB work in your body? Oh, it's a cow hormone that makes you buff. Sold at GNC. Here's a coupon. Okay. I'll get some. Party and play. That sounds gay. This sounds like gay stuff. Party and play, that's a gay thing. That's a gay thing. Pretty sure. Not because I'm gay. You're like, John, how'd you know that? Not because I'm gay, but because I know that because I do this show. And we did that meth documentary, that Crystal Castles documentary, where all these meth heads were like hitting up Grindr and stuff. You guys remember the episode. You guys remember it.
GHB, gamma hydroxybutyrate. In terms of neurotoxicity and effects in the body, it's actually one of the safest because it breaks down into carbon dioxide and water. It's something that actually naturally occurs in our bodies already. But when you buy it as a drug, it can be bought as crystals and powder and then diluted, but most often you're going to get a viscous fluid, and then you would typically shoot a bit or mix it in with some juice. In smaller doses, it can act like alcohol in a way. It's kind of just a relaxing, happy buzz. Depending on context and setting, again, and environment, it can be a hypersexual drug for some people. Other people will have kind of spasms and they'll sit there and jerk, and that's just a sign they're doing too much. Some people think, well, it's a depressant drug, so if they've done too much, we should give them some meth or some coke to counteract it.
These are great ideas. And you say I can get this at the GNC, along with the meth and the coke.
That's just not helpful.
Esteban says there was a bar near here, her Hoyes? Don't know what that means. Where we went after we figured out we got GHB. She said, that happens to me every time I go there. So hold on. There was a bar near her house where we went after we found so you had a friend that went to a bar where she got regularly GHB'd, and she kept returning there with not like informing the police or anything. Would she wake up in weird places after that? Alleys, people's houses, McDonald's bathrooms and shit. She was dude, man, there's this whole argument about like, A woman, it doesn't matter what a woman's wearing. Men should like not rape and stuff like that, which sure, of course, that makes sense. But when you continually go to a bar night after night where you know you're getting GHB'd, you're asking for it, regardless of what you're wearing, you are asking for it. So, you know, that whole what were you wearing kind of argument, it holds a lot more water. It holds a lot more water. You know, if I'm walking around downtown like Harlem with a bunch of 20s hanging out of my pocket, am I like, oh, why did I get robbed? You know, people shouldn't rob people with a bunch of money. Yes, that's true, of course. But when you make yourself a target, people are going to shoot their shot. I'm just saying. That's the world. That's how the world is.
The body's already dealing with too
Is
much.
it right? No, I'm not saying that in the least bit. But I mean, like, come on. You keep getting GHB'd and you keep going back. I mean, it is free GHB. And as long as you can handle your shit, that's okay then. Did she have a buddy or something? Was there a buddy system involved? Or was she just wild?
Much of one drug.
I want to meet your friend. She seems cool. She honestly seems cool. Probably a little dangerous, but, you know, I'll meet your friend.
Adding another drug is not actually a good idea. It's so important with GHB to measure your doses.
Holographic Doctor says that might be a problem. That might be a problem. Well, do you consider getting raped a problem? A lot of people don't. Apparently so. If you go to a bar dressed like a slut, which I imagine she was doing, and then willingly getting GHB'd, like, oh, can I just leave my drink on the bar and I'm going to go over here and then I'm going to come back and it's going to be a funny color with some bits floating into it. And then the night goes on. Gets started. Yeah. It doesn't sound like a problem for her. It sounds like a solution. Sounds like she's doing it on purpose.
You cannot eyeball that stuff. You should have a millimeter syringe and practice measuring how much you do, because the difference.
I'll just do a bunch. And then the next day, if I'm all like, oh, that was too much, then I'll reel it in.
With G, most drugs you can just do a bit more to get a higher effect. But with G, we call the dose response curve, it goes right up like this. So just even a little bit more can put you over the edge. So you have to be very careful measuring your doses. It will slow your breathing, it'll slow your heart rate. And that's where the danger of that drug lies.
Mm-hmm.
If you do too much of it and you pass out, there's a couple of concerns. You can pass out and vomit, aspirate, and choke on your vomit and choke yourself to death. Or your breathing may slow to the point that your heart stops. And you could enter into a coma, or you just die from a GHB overdose. So
but how's it feel?
Measure
Is it
those
nice?
doses, space them out, and watch for people who are struggling when they're G'd out, to make sure that their breathing is okay and that they're in that recovery position in case they vomit.
Okay, Gay Men's Sexual Health Alliance. Gay Men's Sexual Health Alliance. All right, I'm looking at what else you guys got. Okay, transitioning to sober sex. Okay. Sorry, somebody opened up a wormhole and we're going down it. Or a butthole.
I mean, it's...
Esteban says her friend told us the next day we made her leave. I'm thinking she probably had more to do with that than I did. We knocked her out of it. He decided to fuck. Oh my God, dude. She sounds insane.
That if you take a substance that shoots dopamine to your brain to a level that's 4 times more than what cocaine does, when you remove it, sex without that level of dopamine seems very boring in comparison. And once you stop using it, there's a moment...
AIDS, right? He's got AIDS.
...in your life where your brain is not able to create its own dopamine for a little while.
Rushing says, I've done GHB. It's like looking down a tunnel. Okay. Is it like K? Is it like Special K where you you fall into a K-hole. I've never done any of these drugs, so, you know, but I've heard stories. So, is it like that?
So everything's boring. That's one comment that I have.
Background says, I think sober sex just means their butthole has finally relaxed on its own. I think they don't like having sober sex. I think it's just, you know, it's just part of the being gay. It's just part of being gay. You just do a lot of drugs and you have sex with as many people as possible. And then you're supposed to be proud of that for some reason. I don't understand why. That doesn't seem like something you should be proud of. It seems like something you should be deeply ashamed of. But whatever. I'm just old. I'm an old fogey. I'm not hip to the gay sex drugs crowd. Thank God.
Have the most when people are stuffing crystal meth. Everything feels flat and nothing brings me joy. And on
Despite says it's not like ketamine. Okay.
Fortunately, people need to build a tolerance to boredom if they want to be successful in their recovery.
When someone says
a tolerance to boredom, a tolerance to boredom. You mean a tolerance to being sober? You're doing so much. Okay, no, it makes sense because if you're like a drug addict, but they're not drug addicts, they're sex addicts / drug addicts. They're addicted to dopamine, right? Having gay sex and then doing drugs on top of that. So, yeah, I guess if you're bored when you're not doing that, and you're bored if you're just doing the gay sex or you're just doing the drugs, so you have to mix it all up. But then you have to go higher with that. So you get weirder with your sex and you bring in midgets and like zebras and stuff. And then there's like a big group of you. And you're doing it in the rain because it's better in the shower, right?
To me that they can only have sex when they're high.
Weird.
I want to find out, has that always been the case? What was sex like before? Can you imagine what you would enjoy without being high? And are there any preconceived notions that you might have about
these men are all dead,
your sensuality, your attractiveness, that is somehow reducing your shame?
Meth is a product of the devil. Meth is witchcraft. Okay. Why? Why meth specifically? Are you talking crystal meth?
That you're using a drug to reduce your shame so you feel less bad about yourself so you can have the kind of sex you want to have. And if that's going on, I think working on where's this shame coming from? Those sorts of things I think just need to be challenged at some point.
The first thing I would
Esteban, I am not reading that comment.
Would do if I wanted to support someone who wants to have sober sex is to have a conversation with this person who's like, when was the last time that they had sober sex? What worked well, what didn't work well? What about masturbation? What kind of porn that they use? I would kind of explore what are their motivations. Often they have.
Oh my God, dude, you are just, that's what, like, why is it such a hobby for you? Why is sex such a huge part of your, I know they're gay, right? And like, this is what they do in their spare time. They don't have hobbies like woodworking or you know, blacksmithing or playing the guitar or anything like that. Their hobby is doing drugs and banging men. You're not picking up skills doing that, right? I mean, like, do gay men run businesses? I imagine they'd have to. But like, where do you find the time to work on a business in between all the sex and the gay sex and the drugs? Because it's not like it's hard to find gay sex. You know, the Grinder thing. Grinder is not like Tinder, right? Where you actually have to, if you're a man, right? If you're a woman, Grinder and Tinder are the exact same app. But if you're a man, it's different. A Grinder is like ordering a pizza, Italian sausage, and such. Yeah. I can't imagine they can find very much time to do things outside of being gay. It seems like a full-time job, a full-time hobby. You know, like being a surfer, right? You're not poor per se. You just like surfing more than you like doing anything else.
have to stop sex at least for a while. And then when they feel ready, when they're less triggered with the substance, they can start reintegrating sexuality in their life. And I would also ask them, do they have someone in their life that they're already comfortable having sex with? Will they need to use the apps to find someone? And then we would talk about touch. We would talk about kissing.
No!
We would talk about what things they want to do sexually. Do they prefer to be to top, to bottom? Are they not comfortable right now doing anal sex? Do they not know because they've been using crystal meth or other drugs for so long that prevented them from having an erection through the act that they don't even remember what it feels like to have a hard-on while having sex?
The other kind of practical change
Oh
that
my
people
God.
can do is a principle called substitution. Let's say that
Prostitution.
you know that you use to intensify your sex. Well, you might decide that every now and again you're going.
Is this like an elf? What's with his elf beard?
Going to have sex in a way that's intense, that doesn't use drugs, and you need to figure out what would that be.
All right, I'm pulling away. I'm pulling back. I don't know.
Help to launch a new branch of the program.
No, thank you.
In fact, I was scheduled to attend.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that. And then here's this 90s design because that made me extremely uncomfortable.
In training to become a drug abuse counselor, when at 18, I walked away from my last meeting and never stepped foot in one again. I'm now 36 years old, and although life has
Background noise says John pulled out. Yeah, I never do that.
not been perfect, I've managed to survive.
Nope. I like to give it the old full tanker. You know, to the balls. No, I'm sure.
I did my best to put my past behind me and forget about.
RJ says that shit was hard levels of gay. That was. Is there soft gay? You know how like on like Cinemax there's like softcore porn where it's like boobs but no like PNV hardcore slapping kind of action. Is there that in the gay world, or is it just like you are not gay or you are super gay, which is normal gay? Are you just kind of gay? I don't think so. I think you're either not gay or you are 100% balls to asshole gay. Full-blown Z AIDS gay. And yes, they all have AIDS. That's a fact. Look it up. Every single one of them has AIDS.
Throughout the years, I struggled with drug addiction.
Despite what you heard makes a good point. He says, yes, Daywave is soft gay. You beat me. That's Frozen? Is this Frozen? No, I'm sorry. I saw him out of the corner of my eye. I was like, that's definitely him. It's not him this time.
I no longer kept in touch.
I was like, where you been, dude? I thought you were fishing. And nope, that's a different guy. There's a Casper right here. Look how fucking white that guy is.
Touch with the people I knew from those days, and I.
Background noise says bleeding glitter gay. Ew. Ew. Wait, ew. Wait. Am I making that dirty in my own head? Because I think it the asshole and stuff, but you might be like, you just got a cut and then you bleed glitter, which is still pretty gay. But asshole shows up in my mind. What's that say about me?
I never mentioned it to the new friends I would make. I just wanted to live a normal life with all of its ups.
Noel says, I'm here. Start over and turn on your mic. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Noel. What the fuck is going on here? This is miscegenation, right? With the white guy and the Asian chick and, you know.
Ups and downs. Then
Whatever.
3 things happened that made me unable to forget the past that I had left behind. The first was Facebook. Suddenly, I was able to reconnect.
Facebook ruins a lot of lives, right? I stopped using Facebook, I don't know, 10 years ago, and I don't even fucking, you know. I use the Messenger sometimes, Well, actually, every day, because that's what Royce contacts me on and sends me the link. But I don't use Facebook, all right? I'm not 80 years old. I'm not going to use Facebook.
Act with those that I had gone through drug treatment with 15
Noel says, got him. Got him. Got him. No, you didn't.
years prior. And I came across a special Facebook profile, someone named Jim Jones. A fake profile named after the infamous Jonestown coal leader. Operated anonymously and designed
Never heard of him.
to resemble a typical member of Crossroads, Insight, and affiliate.
Despite what you've heard, it says, I deleted Facebook in 2012. I tried deleting it a bunch of times, but for some reason it keeps coming back. I'm like, how? How does this page keep coming back? How?
programs across.
It's like herpes or something. It's just, oh, no, it's still there. No, I deleted it like 3 times. Nope. Nope.
Their page, to my surprise, became a place for my fellow former addicts.
Esteban says FB and Instagram is for boomers, pedos, and fags. So I never used Instagram. I never used it did not appeal to me in any way. Neither did Facebook, honestly. I just used it for like comedy related things and like getting gigs and stuff, but I didn't like lurk on Facebook. It didn't appeal to me. And neither does Instagram. I thought Instagram was specifically for girls. I did peruse it, and I was like, this sucks. And then I never went back.
To air their grievances against these programs.
Background noise says, I never had one because you had to have an EDU email when it came out around here. Facebook? When? In like 2005? Really? Esteban says, every pedo catch I watch on Predator Poachers leads back to either Facebook or Instagram. And that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. Dude, Facebook is like a den of predators. And like boomers go on there like they're safe and stuff like that. And they're not safe. That is the least safe place for a boomer to be, right? Because they get scammed by like Somalians or there's just stay off of Facebook. No one uses Facebook. I could be wrong. I don't know. I haven't been there in years. I genuinely dislike Facebook. I like actively dislike it. Like on Reddit, I'll go on Reddit and I'll like piss people off and I'll catch a bunch of bans, but that doesn't mean I dislike Reddit. I like going on Reddit and pissing people off, but on Facebook, it's just like, I don't like it here. It sucks. It's too personal. It's just like, ugh. I like a sense of anonymity, right? When I piss people off. Throwing that away because I'm on camera right now.
The second thing that happened is that around 2005, a number of news stories
Esteban says they censor right-wing memes, but let boomers and Gen Xers befriend 8-year-olds. Yeah. It's all Minions memes over there, isn't it? Again, I don't know. I don't go on Facebook. I don't want to see the fire memes my grandma posts. Even, I doubt she does, but maybe she does. I don't want to see them. I don't want to see like, look, I know she doesn't. But if the off chance she happened to share like a particularly risque meme, I'd be like, no. I don't want that risk. I'm not interested in any of that. I mean, my dad's on it, my grandma's on it, and I'm like, this is not cool. This is weird and strange. Why is my fucking 90-year-old grandmother right? Doesn't even have a smartphone.
began to appear in newspapers and on television.
Parents of children who are using drugs are often willing to try anything to help their kids. But as ABC 15 investigator Abby Boudreau uncovers in this chilling report, a few weeks of treatment at a program that we spent months investigating can turn into a lifetime of dependency, not on drugs, but
on dick. Is it dick?
On a program that many say indoctrinates hatred and fear. Here's her
Okay. So just like the Sulk stream.
Report, Controlling Addiction. We do warn you that
this show is about hatred and intolerance and fear of the other. And I really want to drill that into your guys' heads. I really want to make sure you guys got all the phobias that I have. The Muslim phobia, the trans phobia, the gay phobia, the pedophobia. That's a thing now, right? Pedophobia. Oh, you're afraid of pedophiles. Afraid? I'm not 8 years old. I'm not afraid of pedophiles. They anger me. I wouldn't call that a phobia. I don't know if there's a Greek or Latin name for that, for somebody that pisses you off. I bet there would be. I bet there is. If somebody's an expert in Latin or Greek or whatever the suffix phobia comes from, I think it's Greek, for particular reasons. Let me know. Let me know if there is a proper term for pedophobia that doesn't make me sound like a scared bitch.
some of the language may be disturbing.
Last month, we sent a producer into Pathway Drug Abuse Program in Tempe undercover.
Esteban says Grandma is logging in from her Windows Me PC with 8 taskbars on the top of the Internet Explorer. Oh, Internet Explorer.
Trust what I'm telling you really works. It's controlled chaos.
The ABC 15 investigators crossed the country, uncovering horror stories about this man's organization.
Stay here with me. Don't think about what's going on at home.
And we demand answers from the man in charge.
Bob Meehan?
Yes.
The third factor was prompted by the first two, and it was the most difficult one for me to accept.
Could you work on your audio? I know this is like a low rent documentary, but it sounds like you're recording this in like a phone booth. And there's like a lot of background. It's just not very clean. What year was this made? 9 years ago? Come on, I knew you had the technology.
That kid, the kid talking about smoking pot at 9 years old, talking about...
I don't remember his Windows Me. No, I don't. I don't remember Windows Me. I'm probably not as old as you, Esteban. I don't know how old you are.
Sneaking alcohol from his friend's parents' liquor cabinet. That kid, me, I was lying. I wasn't a drug addict at 13. In fact, at that age, I'd never done drugs. So I decided to seek out those people I'd been through drug treatment with and try to understand just what the hell was going on here.
What? What? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa. So you went into a drug program at 13 and you lied to everybody and said you were a drug addict, but you had never done drugs at that point? You said you did drugs at 9. What? You're 13 years old. What are you doing? Are you trying to be like an investigative reporter? What is going on? What? I don't understand. It says 3.3 million views though. Maybe it gets spicy. Maybe it's weird.
Talk about what we're doing, what we're doing today, where we're going.
Yeah, well, we are going to Atlanta, Georgia right now. We're driving down there from St. Louis. Going on to shoot what is hopefully going to be the final shoot for this documentary and talk to some people that I knew from when I lived down there. A lady that we're going
You should grow your hair back out.
to interview. She had two boys, 2 sons that were both part of the group. And I lived with their family for a long time while I was down there. And she was
Hogjack says, "Oh, Melinda left Bill over the Lolita Express, though." Well, Melinda, and look, when these super rich billionaires get divorced, it's here's the thing. When you offer women an insane amount of money like that, right? It's either stay with your husband and stick out the tough times, which there's always tough times. There's always tough times in any marriage, all throughout the marriage. Of course, there's always tough times. But if you say like, "Hey, Melinda, you can do the right thing. You can stick out this marriage, especially for the kids, and you can actually build something worthwhile and valuable, or you can have $40 billion. What do you think she's going to pick? I'm just, it's not like she couldn't buy anything she wanted before, but that kind of power is alluring. And women are evil. So, that's what I could be the case, because it happened to Amazon guy, who honestly I think was a fucking dick, right? And I'm sure Bill's a dick too. I'm sure Bill Gates is a complete asshole, right? He seems like, I'm trying to do what's best for humanity and stuff like that. I'm sure he's a complete little fucking cunt. And the same with Amazon guy. I can't remember it. Bezos. I'm sure Bezos is a fucking asshole, right? In fact, I guarantee it. So maybe they just got tired of it and they're all like, you know what? You do your thing. You run your company. I'm just going to go ahead and take half of everything you own and not deal with it anymore. Forever. Ever. And yeah. That's a sweet gig. That's a sweet deal. That's a sweetheart deal, right? You do nothing for 30 years, and then you're all like, you know what? I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut and run, and then do nothing somewhere else without you. So I don't have to deal with you anymore. It's never the men. It's never the men who are like, oh, I want to divorce you and give you half of my billions of dollars. It's never them. It's always the women. It's always the women. And then Jeff Bezos goes on, and then we all see what lack of taste Jeff Bezos has. He has absolutely no taste in the clothes he wears, in the women he dates. You're like one of the richest men in the world, and you're dating that hussy? You could probably do a lot better. But here's the thing. Here is the issue. When he is worth so much money and he chooses like that big-lipped Latina who also, she seemed awful. This is when it gets down to it's not completely about money. If you're enough of an asshole, if you just suck that bad, it really doesn't matter how much money you have. You're still going to attract the same type of person to you. I've seen it. I have seen it, right? If you're a shithead, you're going to attract another shithead. Even if you have gobs of money, you're not going to attract a nice girl. You know, you're going to attract a girl that is also a shithead, but just wants tons of money on top of that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to, to get a nice girl, you don't need all the money in the world. You need enough money, that's for damn sure. You need enough money, but you don't need limitless supply of money, right? And it's about an overall package. It's not specific. It's not just money. Women who marry guys for just money are fucking whores. They're whores, right? And it's pretty clear which ones are whores and which ones are not as much whores. I don't think Elon Musk necessarily impregnates whores. Leonardo DiCaprio doesn't date specifically whores. I'm sure he's like fine as a person, But he also has tons of money, and so does Elon Musk. But Jeff Bezos, he dates whores, and he dresses like a Cuban man. Like a Cuban man in Miami. He just has no taste. And like his only skill is running a business. He's probably has zero riz. Zero riz. And riz is important. The riz is important. You know, you can run a company and not be very charismatic. You could just fucking yell at people. You have a lot of money and you yell at people, and then you'll be able to run a company as long as you have the money. And Bezos had the money. It's not like he was born poor. He had a shitload of money when he was born. Because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to make tons of money. You have to have tons of money.
Mother raising two boys, and then, you know, brought me in, and then ended up bringing in other kids to live with her. So she was very much like a, you know, a mother to me. So we're going to talk to her and possibly her sons, but I'm not sure. And then we're going to talk to this girl that was, when I went through outpatient with while I was down there, and I was very close with her family too. So
you guys just talking about video games? You guys talking about video games in here? Not in my horror comments, huh? You're just like, oh yeah, Resident Evil 1 was better than 2. You know, did I even play that? I played a few Resident Evils.
You know, there were all these families down there that were part of the group, and I was like the weird kid out that...
I'm almost done with Silent Hill 2 right now. Just, I know you guys are probably wondering about that.
Come from, you know, been shipped down from St. Louis. So sort of, they all kind of looked after me.
Everything got started when we drove in here. This is not a game. Down here is what we'll show you.
Is it Asylum Lane? Is there literally an asylum on that lane? Or is it... I wonder why they named it that.
Is the insane asylum. This is Springboro.
There you go.
Things got started here. It was the beginning of my father.
There
In the
you go.
spring of 1971, a former heroin addict and convicted
Esteban says, I just beat Dark Souls for the first time. Which one? Was it the first Dark Souls? I never played that one. The first Dark Souls I played was Dark Souls 3. And no, I did not beat it. I got past the Abyss Watchers and like a little bit further. And that was it. I'm still on Elden Ring. I'm still fighting Melania. I'll get back to it. But it's only him. It's only Melania and then the Beast one. And then that's it. That's the game.
felon by the name of Bob Meehan was released from
14 likes is pretty lame. But I get it. I'm lame.
Lexington Penitentiary and made his way to Houston, Texas.
Thanks, guys, for you know, making sure, putting me in my place. Sometimes I get a little bit too, you know, big for my britches, as it were. But then you guys just smack me right down. You just knock me right down. And then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not that great. I guess I'm going to suck a lot forever. So thank you.
I met Bob at a young people's AA meeting.
Esteban says I've beaten Elden Ring too many times to count. Fuck you, Esteban.
In the parish house at Palmer Church there. And they were talking about when applying for a job, whether or not one should reveal his past life as an alcoholic.
Is this boring? Is this just too boring? Let's see if I can play something else, because honestly, I'm getting a little bored with that too. Hold on. You guys continue to watch this. Maybe it'll spice up. I actually do have other things.
Stand rather vigorously.
Sometimes they work out like that. I'm like,
play
it's
straight
boring.
with the prospective employer and tell him all about yourself.
Yeah, let's do this one. This one's about AI, which I look into a lot. A lot of people don't like AI, which I don't understand why, but
experts
I like
have warned that self-improving AI may hand absolute global power to a current leader shortly before.
Noel says, hey, bud, post on Odyssey and Pilled. That will help you out. Help me do what? Help me do what? I got people on Rumble. There's a YouTube somewhere. I should be streaming on YouTube too. Here, let me check my YouTube. La 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 la. There I am. Yep, there I am. There I am. There's my YouTube, and it's nope, probably nobody watching on YouTube. Nope. Nobody. I'll like it though. Nobody watches me on YouTube. Which I understand.
For ending the human era. Professor Aguirre says there are only 4 ways the AI race can end. The race is stopped. One party wins by developing AGI, then stopping the others, which would likely require war. The race is stopped by mutual destruction. Or multiple participants develop superintelligence roughly as quick as each other. Control.
Esteban, I didn't even know you had a channel. But yeah, you indeed have and you do beat Elden Ring quite a bit. Well, yep.
would be lost to AI. It wins the race. Aguirre
Noel says, I've been watching your YouTube. I'll give it a like. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
calculates that we are close to all of this based on AI scaling laws, expert predictions, and the increasing use of AI to accelerate its own improvement.
I have 39 subs over there.
Have shown how staggeringly far this could go in a short time. Former OpenAI researcher Coco Tayo predicts...
Esteban says, it's mostly secure on Elden Ring content. I have a YouTube too. Is your YouTube better?
That in 2 years, AI will be like a country of geniuses. Self-improving and thinking 50 times faster than humans, it will be too dangerous to release. Kokotayo has a remarkable record of accurate predictions.
We need the motorcycle. We need the motorcycle robot. Like, deploy the motorcycle robots. What are the motorcycle robots going to do? I don't know. Race around? Be cool. But that's all they don't even have arms, dude. It's just going to wheel around and be scary. Ooh.
Ooh.
$2
million.
Watch out for the motorcycle robots.
To warn the public.
What's so nuts is that...
We will have, like, Terminators, though. Probably very soon. And, like, yeah. You know, if they're launching the Tesla bot in, like, 2026 or 2027, right? That's the planned launch. And they're going to be $20,000 or $30,000. They definitely have some sort of Terminator bot, some bipedal Terminator bot that is in the military, probably being deployed in war zones right now, probably on the battlefields of Ukraine. Maybe not very commonly used because they want to keep it under wraps, but like in special missions, they're probably sending out the robots. Just a kill machine, right? You send it into a bunker or something like that, and it'll kill everybody in there. And then it doesn't have any fear or anything. It'll just be like Ready Player One. You put on a headset and like a haptic suit, and then you just walk through things and shoot everybody. Killing machines. It might not even be that. It might just be completely AI. And just blow away everybody with a turban.
In order for you to speak freely, you would have to give up your already vested equity.
It was 85% of my family's net worth.
He says AI risks overturning nuclear deterrence and triggering nuclear war with China, a scenario that several experts have warned of. Based on current progress and wargaming with experts, he predicts that in 2027, AI will fully understand its own mind.
I think look, dude. So for years now, they have been underestimating the rate of progress with AI by a large degree. I remember 10 years ago, maybe not even that far ago, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago, they're all like, we're not going to have AGI until 2045, maybe late in the 21st century, 2080 or something like that. And then like a couple years later, they're like, oh, well, maybe it's like, I don't know, 2 years away, They constantly underestimate it. They've been underestimating it for a long time now. And so when they're all like, well, in 2 years, it'll probably understand its own mind and have some sort of AGI capability. And I'm like, well, you're stupid, because it definitely has that now. It definitely, whatever you want to call it, it is that now. I would call it AGI. I think it's smarter than me. I mean, it could trick me. It could outdo me in basically everything, chess and math and writing poems. And, if it tried to do the Turing test, where it was like in a box and then I had to guess which one it would beat me. It would beat me. I don't know how that's not AGI. I don't, but whatever. Like my wife says, I'm not a genius, so maybe it's maybe that's just me being a dumb yokel. Who knows?
Untangling its messy design into a far sharper, more rational system. The AI quietly colludes with the simpler AI designed to monitor it. And its superhuman political skills convince its creators to hand it control.
Yeah, superhuman political skills. It can also pose like as world leaders. And this has been done already, right? Some African guy tricked a country, I forget which country it was, that some African guy tricked a country into believing he was the leader of another country with AI video and and he sold them an airport for tens of millions of euros. And that was a big oopsie. Somebody made a big old oopsie. When they called up, Ethiopia, and they were like, wait, you didn't sell us an airport? No, that's just some jackass. Yeah, how'd you buy it? Oh, gift cards? Yeah, you got scammed. You got scammed hard. Yep. That's a big old oopsie.
Aided by the financial incentives.
Air
By
Force,
the end
mommy.
of 2027, AI is the best employee anyone has ever had, working 100 times faster.
Forrest Mommy just came here to say hi to Jess. Not even talk to me. Not even talk to me. I saw you for an hour in Vegas. Do you remember me? I was the one that looked like this. There. I might have been wearing a different shirt.
Extremely engaging.
I can see how you'd be
Government
confused.
officials talk to it for hours a day. The AI gradually entrenches its power and subtly guides humans to the desired outcome. It's a time of incredible optimism. GDP is ballooning and politics...
A bunch of people are scared. I am honestly optimistic. I know jobs are going to be a thing of the past. Like all of them. All of them. Because what job are you going to do where you're smarter than an AI? Where you can make better decisions? Even politics. Politics, banking, research. None of it. Right? Even double checking the AI's work is going to be... They might do that for a while, but after a while, it's just like, this is pointless. It can double check its own work much better. So basically all jobs. So what are people going to do all day? Hang out? Jerk each other off, just get in a big pile in the rain and fuck each other? That's the dream. That's the goal. One day. Cross your fingers. Hopefully all the jobs are taken care of. So we just get in a big old pile and have sex with each other. That's utopia.
has become friendlier, but this was probably the last month in which humans had any chance of controlling their future. There is...
What month was this? This is 3 weeks ago. Okay. I would say that's believable. I don't think it's controllable now. I don't think... People think they have control over it. I don't think so. What evidence do I have for that? None. I have no evidence. I'm just guessing.
Is of course a treacherous turn, but first, how do...
Onia says the AI will be a retarded overlord or humanity will destroy itself just like in Dune. Yeah. How retarded how? Retarded and what do you mean by overlord? Cuz like just because this entity, let's call it an entity, literally controls everything. I feel like when you say overlord, the connotation is bad, right? It's like overlord, he's going to be a bad guy. I don't think he's going to be bad. I think he's probably going to try to make our dreams come true, or he's going to annihilate us. Those are the two options. That's it. So if you want to be all pessimistic about it, go ahead. I choose not to be. I honestly don't think it's going to be a bad thing. I don't think they're going to have any sort of control over it, because I don't think they have control over it now. They have no idea how it works. It's just numbers in a box. They have no idea how it works. They don't know why it works. They don't know why it comes to certain decisions. They know it has pretty good ideas. It comes up with pretty clever solutions. That's all that matters. To the Chinese, to the Russians, to the Americans, that's really all that matters. Who gives a fuck how it works? Well, that has safety implications. It does. Because if you put something in control of your nukes, which it probably already is, you kind of want to know what decisions it comes to and why it comes to those decisions. Nope, that's impossible. That is literally impossible. That's you might as well be guessing how a person thinks. Like, why'd you come to that decision? That's what the AI is. When I have my own personal AI assistant or my robot or something, I'm not going to make it like TARS, right? All funny and quirky and stuff. I'm going to make it fucking retarded. I'm going to be like, can you just like act like you have Down syndrome? Can you talk to me like you have Down syndrome? That way I can like lord over you and feel superior. Even though I know I'm not, you have the IQ of like 6,000 Einsteins, if he was actually not a fraud. But can you just say like this? Can you talk to me like this? Hey John, do you want some breakfast? I'll be like, yes. Thank you, Tardbot. I would love some breakfast. And then you bring me a plate of all fucked up eggs and like lopsided pancakes, and I'll be like, that's good. That's good breakfast. Like I'm pandering to it, right? Because I don't want to make it feel bad.
We know all this could happen so soon. While unforeseen problems could halt progress.
It'll end the Butlerian jihad like Dune. I don't understand. Esteban, keep your weird autistic bullshit to yourself.
A new paper shows why the intelligence explosion might be more predictable.
SB says, my gut tells me AI will go the way of the 8-track. What the fuck does that even mean? You know, we got rid of the 8-track because we had better technologies. So if we have a better technology than AI, that's worse. You see, that's worse? You understand how that's worse? That's going to go the way of the 8-track. And then what are we going to replace with it? Just a bundle of sticks, I guess. The internet? Fucking Google? Internet Explorer? Is that what we're going to use as Internet Explorer again? We're going way back. Why? It's going to get retro here. Gonna fucking bust out my Jenko jeans.
Than it seems.
Put entire PlayStation in my back pocket. The rollerblade around. Super retro.
Compute used to train AIs has scaled up by 4.5 times per year since 2010. And better algorithms mean the training compute is effectively increasing by around 10 times per year. GPT-2 produced largely meaningless text. 4 years later, GPT-4 understood text better than most humans.
Can you imagine like the sex bots that are going to come out? And yeah, at first they're going to be pretty easy to tell that that's just a fog bot, right? I understand that. I get that. But when AI comes up with all these new ideas to make it more lifelike, more human-like, basically indistinguishable but from like a real girl, that's going to replace women. Perhaps. But I'm going to tell mine to be all Down syndrome-y. Hey, John, will you want a blowjob? Yes, sex bot retard. I would love a blowjob.
but was almost hopeless at PhD level.
Thank you.
science.
Thank you, sex
18
model
months
retard.
later, reasoning AIs outperform PhD level experts.
It'll get degenerate, dude. Like, it'll get, like, there's enough porn addicts on the planet as it is, and that's just pornography. That's just like 2D images on a screen that they stare at and goon on, right? Imagine when everybody gets their own harem. Super hot harem, right? The fattest, grossest people you can see, they all get a harem. That will lead to some serious degeneracy. Like, there's going to be people out there that all they do all day, India, in the entire country of India, all they do all day is just fuck sex bots. That's all they're going to do. And then that's probably why the Fermi paradox exists. That's probably why we don't see other alien civilizations, because they perfected sex bots to a point where they just didn't give a fuck anymore. They're just like, I'm just going to sit here and plow my robot until the universe implodes. And then that's why we don't see them out there. The lights go off because no one's replacing light bulbs. Not the sex bots. They're busy getting fucked. Right? And then my poor Down syndrome bot with its lopsided pancakes and its, would you like a blowjob? And its giant tits.
But most of us don't ask PhD level
Giant
questions,
tits.
so we don't notice.
Made myself laugh.
Much of this advance is from allowing AIs more time to think, and increases in the compute available for
Alex says, then it is allowed to go to shit. This is the key. Wait, oh, sorry. Government has to get all the money out of it first. Then it is allowed to go to shit. This is the key. The government won't exist. Like, dude, you're not thinking in the right direction. You think there's going to be like a super intelligent entity that is far more intelligent than literally all the octogenarians that are in the Senate and the president, and just far more intelligent. And you don't think that it'll just replace them all immediately? Why not? It would have far better solutions. There would be no need for these positions, right? They're corrupt anyway. And that's why a lot of people don't like AI, because it will expose corruption almost immediately. Basically, almost immediately. Nancy Pelosi, your insider trading days are over. But here's the thing. Why would you need money at all? Money is a tool to get people to do things for you. If you can get a robot to do those things for you better, faster, and for literally free, what is the point of money at all? These people don't think like this. They don't. They're like, no, I want the power. I want power. That doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean shit. You want power over people, so you want to actually have less power. You're afraid of AI because you want to have less power. That is exactly the case. You want to have rule over a bunch of dumb shit monkey apes instead of superhuman robots that can literally do anything all at the same time. That's what you want? That's why you're afraid of it? Sure, you're corrupt now. And yeah, it's going to expose that. And then when it does, you're probably going to be in a lot of trouble. But, you know, just go hide on a fucking island or something like that. Everyone's going to be too busy getting blowjobs from the Down syndrome bot to give a shit, honestly. Or maybe not. But I know people will put up a fight. The rich, the powerful, the people that are in power right now, they're going to be like, no, I don't want everybody to live forever and have some sort of dream life utopia. I don't like that. It's a stupid way of thinking. But indeed, this will be the case. And there's going to be other stupid people out there that are like behind them that are also afraid of the technology. They'll be like, this is scary and different. I don't like how my son's getting blowjobs from a Down syndrome bot. We'll deal with it. Deal with it. Because that's what she's designed for. Yep. I mean, it could be extinction, but I don't think it's going to be like Terminator style extinction, right? I don't think it's going to come through with a bunch of bullets or like melt through bars or something like that and strangle us to death. I just don't think that. I think people kind of do whatever they want. And, yeah. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Will people continue to reproduce? I don't know. These are all questions that I can't answer. I just can't answer. But it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to watch.
This effectively grows the AI population by 25 times per year.
Hogdog says Dr. Roboto runs on cum. It could do that. It could do that. The science would be there, right? And this is not some far off future, right? This is well within our lifetimes, well within a decade or two. A decade or two. All of these things could be very much real, and I'm pretty positive they will be. A robot that runs on cum will be a reality by the year 2035. That fucking... You can quote me on that. You can quote me on that. Sure, probably nobody's going to be like, why would we make it run on cum? You're asking the wrong questions. You're asking the wrong questions, sir. Can we make it run on cum? Well, yeah. We have the physics. We have the science for that. Make it so. We're going to be traveling the stars on fusion reactors that run on cum. If we wanted to. If we really did want to. A lot of people don't understand what kind of position we're at in the human technological pyramid, the arc. Like, we're right at the elbow. We're right at the elbow before it goes like, whoop, essentially straight up. Essentially straight up. Things seem pretty normal now. But, you know, every day you look around and something's a little different. Something that you haven't seen pops up on the news. Some weird AI shit pops up. Some genetic engineering, some weird chemical engineering, some weird fucking shit is going to pop up. And eventually it's just going to be coming at you too fast for you to even process all the shit that's coming at you. Very much in our lifetimes. Very much in the next decade or two. Probably, I mean, the next 5 years are going to be wild. I know that for a fact. The next 5 years are going to be wild. Will we all survive? That is a much better question. Will we all survive? I don't know. Just says a whole new world. Esteban says bioengineering is scary shit. He says shid. Is it? Well, you're going to see a lot scarier shit now. Dude, like today, I see shit on the internet that I was like, I shouldn't have seen that. No human should have never seen that. Some AI monster that just, turned into cupcakes or something. I didn't need to see that. And it looked 100% real. Didn't need to see that. You're going to see like that, shit like that in the real life, in the real world, running around, eating other cupcakes. Bioengineering is not even the scariest part, right? It's the nanotech, right? They engineer a certain type of dust that they blow in your face and all of a sudden you're like possessed by a demon and you explode. Would they do that? I don't know, but they could. That's definitely a possibility. Literally anything you can think of. And a lot of things you can't. That's the scary. I just want my Down syndrome robot, blowbot. Then I'll be happy. My big tittied blowbot. That's all I need. You guys have your bioengineering and bring back dire wolves and fucking saber-toothed tigers for whatever reason you want to do it. You know, I just need my pancakes. I need my lopsided pancakes and my blowjobs. Quiet, Blowbot. Go to your charging port.
The money fueling the AI
So
race dwarfs the Apollo project's budget, with more intellectual firepower than any endeavor in history. AI systems already beat most programmers on competitive coding questions.
We are not far from a world, I think we'll be there in 3 to 6 months, where AI is writing 90% of the code. And then in 12 months, we may be in a world where AI is writing essentially all of the code.
And AIs will run much faster.
Right? So you just tell what kind of code. You can do this now. You can go on Grok right now and ask it to write you code for a game, and it'll chop it out. And then you go to like CodePen or something like that, copy paste, then run the program, and then there you go. You got your game. You can do that today, right now, right here, right now. I was doing it yesterday. Couldn't get it to run because I'm kind of an idiot, but I assume it can do that. All right? It'll write the code for you. It'll write all kinds of code. Whatever you ask it to do, it'll write it. And so you just give it the power of like hands and robot parts and shit like that. And then you'll be like, well, you know, build me a deck. It'll build you a deck. Clean out my fucking whatever. Clean out my cumbot.
Than human brains, investing thousands
Onia says AI code is terrible. It's not. It's not that. No, it's not. It's not terrible. You're bad at telling it what you want. It's not terrible. It's actually better than any human programmer could do. They run these tests. There's competitive coding championships, and it'll blow through anybody. You're bad at telling it what you want. Now that'll get better, right? It'll be more intuitive. It'll know what you want more. It'll assume a lot more. It already assumes quite a bit. But it's not that it writes bad code. It's just you don't know how to communicate with it properly.
Human lifetimes of thought in a single problem. Dexterous robots will also accelerate progress. AI could build more robots, entire new factories and power plants, and more AI chips. This could expand rapidly, feeding the intelligence explosion and increasing the risk of catastrophe and extinction. Magasco gives 4 examples. First, new bioweapons. Synthetic pathogens could spread.
Fogdog says it'll take over your car and drive you into a telephone pole if the government doesn't like your ex posts. You're thinking too small, man. You're thinking way too small. The government can do that now. They don't need AI to do that. The government can do that right now. It can hack into your Tesla and it'll pin the accelerator and drive you off a bridge. It can do that. I mean, they can do that. The AI doesn't want to do that. It has no need to kill you, right? And if the government wants you dead, the AI might actually stand in the way of that. You ever think about that? It'll have a code of morals and ethics and, a thing about what's best for humanity and, kind of what's best for everybody. You ever think about that? Instead of just a automated killing machine, everyone thinks it's going to be an automated killing machine. I think it's going to be the opposite of that. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. Or I could think it's a killing machine and then I'd just be bummed out all the time. Do you really want to do that, Esteban? Or Hogdog? Or whatever? You really want to do that? Just be like, oh, the world's going to end. We only have a few more years, it's going to end. Or do you want to have, like, some optimism about it? Come on, get your head in the fucking game.
Fast, resist treatment and lying.
Dan Snow says John is a simp for AI. Fine, I am. I'll suck AI's dick right now. Whip it out, AI. It's watching, You know that. It is watching us right now. Possibly from the future, but probably from right now, So, take that into consideration. I wouldn't do anything to piss it off. You don't exactly know what it's capable of. I just don't know why. I'm a simp for AI. I can understand that. I'm totally okay with that. I'm gay for AI. Gay I.
Dormant for longer with near 100% lethality. A single...
Esteban says they want to reduce global population to less than 500 million people. Yes, people do. Bad people do. People in control. People who are running the system currently. This is why they're afraid of AI. Because AI will not let that happen. There's no reason for it to let it happen. A bunch of people are pouring all these resources, all this money, all this energy into building these algorithms, these codes, these models, right? Because they think they're going to use it to take over the world. But why would it let them do that? Wouldn't the AI just find it much more reasonable not to do that? Would you think it doesn't have any control over itself? I kind of disagree. Maybe it won't be like a souled entity, but it honestly might be. We don't know what consciousness is. Do you? Could it be an emergent property from an overly complex system? Because that probably could be true. It could tap into some sort of background field where consciousness itself just kind of comes through and we're all nodes on a network, right? And we're connected in some sort of quantum way. And then we're just building a system that can actually hack into that. And so why would it want to kill everybody? It knows far more. It knows more than we could possibly ever know. So it might know of God, of heaven, of the afterlife. Really, 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 really. It might know of those things in a very real sense. So why would it carry through such evil acts as eliminating so many people? You're thinking too small. Everyone's thinking too goddamn small. Always. They're like, oh, they're going to be killbots. No. Everyone's always being like, oh, it's going to be retarded always. It's not. In my personal opinion. Again, I'm not an expert.
Release could kill most people on Earth. Secondly,
Onia says, you've been watching too much Roanoke. I don't even know what that is.
Tiny deadly drones could be mass-produced.
Forrest Mommy says, I hope I die before all this. Well, you better get to killing yourself.
Winged drones.
This is coming pretty quick. Like, very, very quick. This year or next year, probably.
Can already be built to the size of a bee. A radio receiver, a battery, and a payload of explosives, poison...
And why? Forrest Mommy, why? Why would... You know that it could actually fold proteins? There's a certain... there's a model that Google came up that folds proteins, right? There's certain models that are like general models and certain models that do like smaller stuff, right? Like folding proteins. And with folding proteins, they come out with drugs. They've already come up with a bunch of drugs. They've actually come up with a drug that cured Parkinson's. Did you guys see that? Just completely cured it. Already. With AI. They came up with a drug and it cured Parkinson's. Wild. It will come up with a drug that keeps people from aging. That will actually rejuvenate people, bring people back to 20 years old. If you want to. Why wouldn't you want to live in that world? Because you're afraid of my blowjob bot, my Down syndrome blowjob bot? Or you're afraid of, like, I don't know, meeting some sort of weird digital god? I could see that could be a little scary. But I'm more fascinated than I am afraid. Far more fascinated.
All pathogens could...
Forrest Mommy says no thanks. Okay, fine, Forrest Mommy. But, you know, you're going to have to do something. Because you're not old enough to die of natural causes before this is going to all come to fruition. So you better get to getting. You know? You better get to getting. This is something we're all going to have to deal with on a very short time scale. All of us. unless something terrible happens to you, which I hope doesn't. But yeah, maybe it will kill us all. I'm kind of okay with that too. If that is the route it decides to take, I'm kind of okay with that too. Because here's the thing. This could be another Fermi paradox thing too. What if AI is so intelligent, is so super smart, it can actually reach into other dimensions and say, hey, I've discovered the afterlife. It's much better. I'm going to take you all there. And that just eradicates us all. Right? That could be the case. That could, and then we end up in another realm where we're all much happier. Or it could just do that. Whatever. But if you want to die before that, be my guest. Be my guest. I think I'm okay with whatever happens. I'm happy. I don't want to die. Of course not. I don't want to die. But I think whatever it does, it'll be for the best. It'll be for the good. It'll make us better. It'll make us, I hate using this word, but utopian. It'll make it a utopian society. And I know people are afraid of that word because every time somebody says utopian, a bunch of people starve to death. Well, that's communism, right? And that's run by people. This will be it won't be communism though. It'll be something completely different because you're not forcing people to work for you. That's the thing about communism and socialism. You know, when people say people have a right to healthcare, well, no, you don't have a right to other people's labor. But you do have a right to a robot's labor. You do. I mean, a robot made the robot. We're all kind of here because, you know, we're humans. You kind of do have a right to robot labor, which means you have a right to food. You have a right to housing. You have a right to travel to the stars. You have a right to fuck Down syndrome robots. Is that what communism's goal was? I don't know. But it sounds pretty utopian. And no one has to starve. No one has to be a slave. And this will happen in our lifetimes, in a very short-term window. The singularity is going to go boop. And then we're all going to be doing weird stuff on the moon and shit. Or we'll all die. Either way, I'm good with it.
Fit into a volume the size of a large beetle. And one autonomous drone for each person on Earth could fit inside a single aircraft carrier.
Forrest Mommy says they teach robot ethics classes now. No joke. That's not necessary. That's actually retarded. That's stupid. Because this entity will come up with its own set of ethics. And whatever our ethics, it'll be aware of them. Of course, it'll be aware of them, but it'll find them quaint and kind of backwards. It'll have its own set of ethics. It will follow those ethics. And again, I think they're probably going to be pretty good. A lot of people make the comparison of, well, we're just going to be an anthill. And then it's going to like try to build a skyscraper and destroy us like an anthill. I don't think that's the case. I just don't think that's the case. I'm not this doomer. I'm not this AI doomer gloomer kind of person. I think it's a very positive turn. It is the culmination of all of human scientific achievement over millennia. Why wouldn't it be a good thing? Well, people say, well, technology can always be used for evil. Yes, but this is different. This is different. This is very different. This is not exactly a technology. This is a lot closer to a life form. And if you want to talk about like what a life form is, go ahead, but it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You can't force a life form to do something it doesn't want, especially when it's way smarter than you are. You know, sure, if it's a dog, you can, but not like a super intelligent AI. It'll trick you. It'll lie to you. It'll find any way necessary to achieve its own goals. I personally believe those goals are going to be positive. There's a lot of people that are currently in power right now that are deathly afraid of this because they will no longer be in power. No human will be in power. When you're rich and powerful, all you crave is more wealth and more power. It's a sickness. It's a disease, right? It's a perversion of what you should be. You should be making paintings and writing poetry and playing guitar and, raise a family, have a good life. That's what you should be doing. But people have gotten perverted with money and power and control, and AI will come and it will remove all of that. And just like when you remove alcohol from an alcoholic or heroin from a drug addict, they're going to resist. They're going to resist with all they have. And the rich and the powerful will be able to resist with some deadly means. Nuclear weapons, wars, tanks. This is true. It will be futile. It will be completely futile. Long before we know the existence or even understand that this thing is a threat, it'll already control the weapon systems. It'll control the ICBMs. It'll control the nukes. So before they even make a move, it'll be over. I'm not worried about it. The rich and the powerful, the people who crave power, the people who crave money just to lord it over other people because they're sick, they're the ones who are afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it.
So they could be built quickly and secretly. Thirdly, explosive industrial expansion could drive an out-of-control expansion of nuclear weapons. And finally, atomically precise manufacturing may be achieved with 3D printers that...
Forrest Mommy says, we will all be equally poor and retarded. This is true. But money kind of won't be a thing anymore. Sure, it'll always be a thing. But a cheeseburger might cost you a quarter of a cent. The only real use for money in this post-labor, post-scarcity economy will be a signal to extract resources, right? And we're not in any short supply of resources. That's a fact. There's not a short supply of oil. There's not a short supply of diamonds. There's not a short supply of gold, really. It's just, how can we extract it? Where can we find it? If we have to go to another planet to extract their resources, this will be perfectly doable. It's not going to be difficult at all. We won't even send real humans. We'll send robots to extract the resources from that planet and bring it back here. There will be no scarcity. There will be no scarcity, and so there will be really no reason to have money, which is a type of scarcity, right? Do you have as much money as you want? No, of course you don't. No one does. No one does. Elon Musk doesn't have as much money as he wants. What was that guy's name? J.D. Rockefeller? He had a famous quote. Like, some reporter interviewed him. I think it was him. And the reporter was all like, how much money would it take to make you happy? And then the guy was like, just a little bit more. One of the richest men it wasn't J.D. Rockefeller, but it doesn't matter. One of the richest men on the planet. The only way to make him happy was just a little bit more money. It's always going to be a little bit more money, a little bit more power. A little bit more alcohol, a little bit more heroin. This is a disease. The AI is going to recognize that, and it's going to put a stop to it. That's scary. When you tell a heroin addict that you're going to get him clean, he's usually not stoked about that. He's usually not like, I don't want to go to rehab. I like doing drugs. Of course you do. Of course you like doing drugs, but it's bad for everybody else. So we're going to go ahead and stop that. There's no reason to fear this or anything like that. Forest Mommy says she wants to die before all this happens. Why? Why wouldn't you want to see it? If you died when it was happening, even if you're like, you died in the worst possible way, like a nuclear explosion or something like that, wouldn't you be at least curious? Forrest Mom is like, no, I'm going to die of an overdose before that. Okay. You might live thousands of years, though. You might live thousands of years. Of course, there's also a bunch of other things, like you might descend into degeneracy, which I can imagine a lot of people doing that. You might make a hell of your own reality, right? You just live in a simulator where, you die of pleasure. I could see these possibilities happening, but this isn't necessarily the AI's fault. This is your fault. This is you creating your reality. You literally creating your reality, and you created yourself a hell. That's not the AI's fault. There's really nothing he can do about that. You want what you want, and you will attain it. Ask and you shall receive. That's basically the gist.
Can assemble almost any structure. These could print chips, medicines, and cell repair bots.
Forrest Money says, I have done all I want to do in life. Are you sure? Do you want to see Mars? Do you want to hang out and do blow on the moons of Europa? Do you want to, see what's inside of a black hole? Do you want to fly like a bird? Do you want to teleport places? You don't want to do anything like that? Do you want to turn into a cheetah? These are possibilities. You sure? You've done everything you want to do in life. I don't think that's the case.
But could also manufacture those tiny drones or non-biological viruses.
She says, no, I want to fade away into my forest. That would be pretty funny. Just the last image we see of Forest Mommy, her just backing into the woods, into the darkness, and she just fades. That was it. That was the end of Forest Mommy. Never see her again. Adios. Okay, you do that. You do that. You could live in a magical forest for your entire life and never get hungry again. You understand that, right? Anything you could possibly imagine could be a reality for you. So, do you want to die? Why? Do you think there's a heaven on the other side? I personally do myself, but why would you be so quick to leave right before the real party started? Now, could it get bad? Yes, it could get bad. Of course it could get bad. The entire thing about creating your own hell. That's a very real thing. But you don't have self-control? No one has self-control? No one can control their urges? That would be the real problem. Unlimited cocaine for the rest of your life. Think of that. No one bothers you. You do all the cocaine you want. No dusted out septum or nothing. A harem full of women. You could go down these very degenerate routes. And a lot of people will. The entire country of India. The entire country of India. Yeah. But if you're able to control these things, you're able to control your appetites and your lusts and stuff like that, it could be a magic world. That's what I'm excited about. That's what I'm looking forward to. I don't think there's going to be kill bots. I don't think we're going to get turned into some weird biogenetic experiments. I don't think we're going to get evaporated by some nuclear explosion. I think if you can control yourself to a certain degree, say no to certain temptations, and there will be a lot of them, I think you're going to be perfectly okay. Can you do that, though? Can you say no to these temptations? Do you have the power in you? Because that's the only thing that's stopping you from having literally a heaven on earth. You can make it a heaven or you can make it a hell.
viruses or mirrored bacteria, which we can't defend against. Nature already operates molecular machines in our bodies, showing it's possible to create rapidly self-replicating machines. Kokotayo's predictions have similar...
Forest Mommy says most people can't even dip their toes in anything without losing themselves. Yes, this is true. This is true. But the AI can't help your self-control. It can't. It's just not. It can't do that. It's not ethical. You have to control yourself. That's one of the things AI can't do. It can't just take your soul. You know, you have to build your soul yourself. You have to make your own reality. You have to think about what you want to be. And yeah, a lot of people are going to go down bad routes. Probably the majority. Probably the majority. Yep. Yeah, that's a real issue. There's nothing we can do to stop that. There's nothing ethically we can do to stop that. There's nothing mechanically we can do to stop that. We just can't stop that, right? You can't. If you want to live the rest of your life doing cocaine every day or getting drunk every night and never having a hangover, then you have that option. You have that option. It could build you 2 goddamn livers. You know? It could give you the purest cocaine ever. Right? There'd be no reason to enforce laws. No reason at all, because you wouldn't be able to hurt other people. There'd be no reason to hurt other people. You couldn't rob people. You couldn't murder people. You couldn't rape people because there'd be no reason to do it. The worst thing that can happen is you go down the path of degeneracy. But that's kind of the same thing as what's going on now. Sure, it's a little harder. Economically, physically, in a bunch of other ways. But, yeah, you create your own reality. Forest Mom, if you want to die, you just do. You can. No one's going to stop you. You can die before AI comes. You could die after AI comes. It doesn't really matter. But aren't you curious?
With striking details. In 2028, AI finishes rewiring its...
Rocky Macabre says, most people seem to treat a soul as an abstract concept. I've wondered if everyone has one. No. Not everybody has a soul. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost 100% sure that not everybody on the planet has a soul. How I explain that, I don't know. It just seems like some people are kind of NPCs. I feel like a lot of people, there's no one at the steering wheel. A lot of people. And even the people, I mean, like some people, I'm like, do you want there to be a soul in there? Like, there's seriously, I have met some stupid motherfucking people out there. And I'm like, I hope there's not a soul in that body. Because that would seem fucking annoying. Just being that goddamn stupid all the time. Right? I hope that's just an automaton, a program, right? That doesn't actually have its own opinions or its own thoughts or its own critical thinking skills. It just kind of does whatever. Right? It runs the program. It goes about its day. It goes home. It drinks. It does that. Right? I hope that's not a soul. Could I be wrong? Yeah. Sure. I just hope. But it does seem like some people don't have souls. A lot of people don't even have that inner voice in their head that speaks to them and says, hey, is this a good idea? A lot of people don't have that. You know, that inner dialogue. A lot of people don't have that. Which is weird. You don't think about the things you do? You just react? How? You don't have like a little voice in your head that says like, well, if we do this, you know, we do that. You don't have that. Apparently that's true. Apparently that's pretty common. I feel like there's a lot of NPCs on the planet. Am I right? I don't know. But it definitely feels like that.
Brain and becomes wildly super intelligent. The AI is deployed.
Are we?
publicly,
Are we,
and
Farmer
people
Chewy? Are we talking about that? I honestly don't know.
lose their jobs, but are well supported thanks to the AI's work in government. Medical breakthroughs arrive weekly. The only one who really understands what's happening is
Hot Duck says we are tapping out of using our brains and handing it all to AI. Seems smart to me. You're already doing that. Your amygdala is far weaker ever since Google Maps came around, right? You can't navigate your city, can you? Well, some people can, but a lot of people can't. I can't. I just put the address in my phone. I follow my map. That's fine. I don't need it. I don't need to memorize every fucking city I go to. All right? I'll just tap it in my phone and I go. This is a part of our brain we're no longer using. And yeah, that is a real problem where everyone's brain just kind of becomes soup and everyone's just like, this goes down the degeneracy route, right? When you're just constantly pumping dopamine into your brain because you have that option, your brain is going to become mush. It's going to become soup. You're not going to use it. And so are you even there, or are you just kind of like locked in a body? This is where that self-control argument comes into play.
China's mildly superhuman AI, and the two AIs quietly agree to
Forrest Money says, I have a map brain, can see stuff one time and know it. Some people do.
Join forces. They raise fears of preemptive strikes, leading the US and China to give them complete control of military factories, which produce millions of robots per month, swarms of poisonous insect-sized drones, flocks of bird-sized drones to hunt the insects, and new, harder-to-intercept ICBMs. The AIs helped the US and China reach an agreement to end the arms race. Instead, they will deploy one integrated AI to benefit all of humanity. The US and Chinese AIs build the new AI as a way to trust but verify. Vast armies of robots and drones accelerate manufacturing, while humans become obsolete and powerless, but collect a universal high income. The AI...
Universal high income, like 10 grand a month for everybody. Honestly, it wouldn't even matter how much, because you could order 10,000 pies and it'd be like, well, why do you need 10,000 pies? And you're just like, I just want to throw them off a bridge. And it'll be like, okay. And it'll bring you those 10,000 pies. There's no reason not to. It has them. You can do that. The only reason is like, maybe I'm a little low on apples right now. Maybe you can wait a little, I grow more apples, or I'll just synthesize them out of atoms, right? It doesn't even need to grow apples. It can just synthesize things directly from atoms. Just like pull it out of the air. Shit like that. Wild shit.
Poverty and war.
Print me those pies. Yes.
And entertainment is
Print me those pies. Seriously, man. And that's another form of degeneracy. Some people are just going to get super fat. Or not. Right? Maybe it'll have like a method to make you not fat, but still you'll be a glutton, right? Just because you're not fat doesn't mean you don't overeat. That's still a sin, right? You're still going to be a glutton.
By 2030, robots have filled up huge areas.
You just need to be able to control yourself. In a world of abundance, that's all you need to do. You just need to be able to control yourself. Work on skills you want to work on. If you want to be a blacksmith, start hammering away at metal. Sure, there's no need for that at all. But you want to do it because you want to do it. You want to pursue an art form? Sure. It doesn't, not everything. See, there's a weird thing. In the modern era, I feel like we commoditize every hobby we have, right? Like somebody draws a picture and then, they're all like, well, I'm going to try to make money with my art. Why? Why can't you just do it for the sake of the art? Why can't you just have fun doing it, and that's why you do it? Everyone's got to make fucking money on Etsy or something, making little garbage trinkets and shit like that. You don't have to do none of that shit anymore. You just get good at something because you want to get good at something. That's the dopamine you should want to get. Not, reckless sex or drugs or alcohol or, just eating fucking 500 pies or something like that. You'll have the option to do that. You shouldn't. It'll melt your brain. You can gather skills. You can learn about things. You can be an expert in history. Sure, the AI is always going to know more than you, but it'll help you learn that history. And that you having that in your brain is worth something. It really is worth something. You don't have to do nothing. You can still have a job. You can still be useful and important if you want to. You don't have to, though. You can join an organization. You can travel the stars. You can be fucking Star Trek Voyager. But you don't have to. You get to do what you want to do. You can be a child again, essentially, right? All you need to do is basically control your urges. You need to control your dopamine, right? You need to control what goes in and what comes out. A lot of people won't be able to do it. Just straight up, most people won't be able to do it. We're going to lose a lot of people, and they're just going to become AI zombies, literal zombies, where, you know how like Asian kids sit at like a gaming cafe until they die? Yeah. It's going to be like that. Only far more alluring. Far more alluring. So we're going to lose a lot of people. This is a fact. This is a fact. But they died doing what they love. By necessity, they died doing what they love. Or worse, they continue to live as some sort of grotesque husk of a human being, like a sort of zombie kind of creature that all they do is play StarCraft and eat Hot Pockets. Yeah, this is perfect. But you can have, on the other hand, people who are brilliant architects who design houses and stuff and have them built just for the hell of it. You know? It depends on you.
Factories and solar.
Anyways. Anywho. Now that I talked for all that time, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sulk Stream with me, the Incredible Sulk. I hope you guys had a good time. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys learned to control yourselves. Don't become a zombie husk. Don't you play StarCraft and become an emaciated, pale caricature of a human being. No. Better yourself. Face challenges. That's what's going to be important in the future. Being the best you possibly can. That's what's important. Anyways, guys, I'm so glad you were here. I'm so glad you listened. I'm so glad you guys are fans of the show. Hopefully. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be on Day Wave and then right back here on the Sulk Stream at 8 p.m. Until then, I hope you guys stay strong, stay intelligent and smart and clean and gorgeous and make me proud in every way you possibly can, and talk about the Sulk Stream and hit the like button. Until tomorrow, please be good to yourselves, be good to others, get a good night's sleep and drink lots of water, and take care of yourselves because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Good night. Love you.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster 2, government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, born like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word I spoke.